it's Stephanie, and I'm here to talk about the books that I am planning to read in July. This is a might be read list as opposed to a to be read list. I feel like there's a few things on here that I am definitely going to get to, but I DNF like crazy and I change my mind all the time. So if you are watching these and watching my July TBR and then you will watch my July wrap up, there's no promises that all of these books are going to be on my wrap up, if you get what I mean. So I will start this off by two books that I am currently in the middle of. I am 136 pages into North American Lake Monsters by Nathan Ballingrud. This is a short story collection, one that actually got an adaptation deal with Hulu. They're going to put out a mini series with, I think, an episode based on each of these stories. So far, I wouldn't say these are straight up horror. I would say they're more on the weird or fabulism side of things, even though they do have some horror elements. Like one story is like vaguely about a werewolf and one of them features a vampire. I don't know if I would really say these are horror stories, but so far very well written, very enjoyable, very literary, I will say. And since I had a good experience with Riley Sager's Lock Every Door, I felt okay to dip my feet into thrillers again. I picked up My Favorite Sister by Jessica Knoll. Now, reading the reviews, I did hear people say that this is a little more slow paced, that they didn't feel comfortable calling this a thriller per se. We are following a cast of women who are on a reality show called Gold Diggers. We follow a girl named Brett, who is a cast member on the show, and her older sister Kelly. In that relationship, Kelly is the older sister. She was always the overachiever and the favorite sister. And Kelly has always felt like she was under her shadow. She was overweight. She was a lesbian. She was just loud, just very different from her sister. But she's found success on this show. And in the first chapter, we find out that Brett is murdered and that people think Kelly did it. And it opens up with Kelly doing like a Barbara Walters interview about what happened and how the show is going to deal with Brett's loss. And then we go back and get everyone's POV on their relationship with Brett. And I'm really liking it. I told you I love reality TV and I love this look at the artifice of it all and the difference between people's like TV personas and their real life personalities. And I am just like really enjoying this so far. I haven't read The Luckiest Girl Alive by Jessica Knoll, which a lot of people seem to love. So let me know if that's one I should pick up after this. So I pre-ordered Growing Things and Other Stories by Paul Tremblay because of course I did. He's one of my favorite horror authors. And so this is a collection of short stories. I don't know too much about them. I know that when we interviewed him, he said that characters from his other stories will show up in here. There's also a story called Notes from the Dog Walkers that's all told in emails, which I really like. I like when short stories get experimental with like, you know, modern epistolary style stuff like that. So I'm interested to see where it goes. I've heard a lot of people say that this delves more into weird than horror, which I'm totally fine with. And I'm interested to see how I like him because I don't think I've read any Paul Tremblay short stories, but I have read 3 of his novels. So we'll see. And another anticipated book of 2019 is Chuck Wendig's The Wanderers. I just picked this up like an hour ago from the library. Look at that. It is like 750 pages. This is a post-apocalyptic novel. We start off following this girl and her sister has this, they call it a malady, like a sickness where she is sleepwalking and all of a sudden she is just heading somewhere. And so the girl is following her sister to make sure she is safe and she finds that there is, you know, this is an epidemic. There is a ton of people that are sleepwalking and they are, you know, all of them are heading somewhere together. And so there are people called like shepherds who are with them to see what it is that they are heading for. And so this is supposed to be a big post-apocalyptic novel. A lot of people are comparing it to The Stand, which I haven't read yet, but I feel like I know enough about it to know it's just like an epic post-apocalyptic story. I am interested to see where this goes. I do love Chuck Wendig's writing. Blackbirds and Mockingbird have been on my favorites list this year, so we shall see. I realize that I don't have a lot of luck with big books. So I'm hoping to at least get a big chunk into this and see if maybe I can finish it on audio sometime or if I can check it out again, because This is new, so I don't know if I'll be able to renew my checkout for it if I'm not done with it in 3 weeks. Library problems. And for a book that is a lot smaller, I was considering reading In the River by Jeremy R. Johnson, or Jeremy Robert Johnson. And all I know about this is that it's a weird novella. The back says, an intensely moving tale of survival and madness along the river's edge. A father and son fishing lesson becomes a nightmarish voyage to the sea in this visionary testament to the lengths we will go for those we love. So this is a small book, and it is 130 pages. And I mean, like, it's like a short book. And for a book that was sent to me is a David Nora's Slasher Crasher. So it says, like, best friends until death, tonight, 10ish. And let me just read you the back, because, like, when he emailed me, I was like, I need to read this book. It's Halloween. Nick Roche, a towering figure of evil and stupidity, escapes from the upstate New York mental hospital he'd been committed to for the past 5 years. Planning to return to his childhood home where he brutally murdered his babysitter's boyfriend, his plans are halted when he crosses paths with an even more terrifying beast. 2 high school friends with some serious beef. Caught in a battle of loyalty that has been brewing for 10 years of their friendship, the 2 girls, Kathleen Strife and Betsy Coleman, force the feud into a savage showdown, pitting the escaped monster against each other. Who will survive this epic death match? And is it totally wrong to fall in love with the murderous lunatic who tried to kill your ex-best friend with a machete? So this just seems like a lot of fun. So it's, yeah, like a escaped convict gets stuck in between 2 girls fighting, and they start pitting him against each other. Like, I don't know. It just seems like very silly and very obviously inspired by Halloween. So I am interested to see how it goes. I do love a good horror comedy. I love a good slasher. Let's do it. And for books that I am reading digitally, it is the first month of the Bloody Beach read-along that I am doing with Jason at Jason's Weird Reads, Rachel at the Shades of Orange, Cami over at Cami's Corner, and Carla at Carla's Book Bits. And so for July, we are reading Kill River by Cameron Roubique and I Call Upon Thee by Ania Ahlborn. I have Kill River on my Kindle, and I will be listening to I Call Upon Thee on audio through Hoopla. So if you have Hoopla, you can listen to the audiobook and join us in discussing the book. And for arcs, I do have a few arcs that I am reading digitally, and one of them is Dead Girls Club by Damien and Angelica Walters. This is a little bit of a thriller, dark female coming-of-age story, but it follows... There was a group of girls in the 90s called the Dead Girls Club. You know, they got together on their suburban block and traded grisly true crime stories. And one of them started talking about this figure called the Red Lady and just told these really scary, disturbing stories about her. And then we flash forward to the future, and we are following one of those girls. She is now a child psychologist. And we find out that the girl who told those Red Lady stories was found brutally murdered. Her mother was blamed for the crime, but the child psychologist is really blaming herself, and she gets sent the other half of a best friends forever necklace, and she doesn't know where it came from because it was definitely from her dead friend. So that sounds really interesting. I've loved Damien and Angelica Walters' short stories that she's written, and she's definitely been a horror writer, so I'm interested to see how dark this story gets. I'm about 25% of the way through, and I'm really liking it so far. And I also have Violet by Scott Thomas. Scott Thomas wrote one of my favorite books from last year, Kill Creek. And all I know about this one is that it's about an evil child, and it's horror, and it's Scott Thomas, and that was enough for me. So I haven't started that one yet, but it's on my Kindle from NetGalley along with Dead Girls Club. So I will read it when I finish Dead Girls Club. So anyway, guys, that is what I have plans to read in July. I'm really hoping to get through the majority of these. Wish me luck on Wanderers. I don't do well with long books, so we shall see. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.